Rightfully so, going to be speaking to advocate Maphosa. And this morning it's a continuation of professional negligence, touching on architects, engineers, and construction. Good morning, advocate.
Good morning, good morning.
What are you packing? I'm curious.
I was busy getting organized, but I'm organized and I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, okay. Nice to see you again, advocate.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I miss you when you're not here.
Come on, that's the nicest thing anyone here has ever said to
you
me.
know, for the record.
It makes sense when it's coming from you, though.
Oh, does it though?
If I say it myself, she'll be like, and then, boss?
But could you share it?
Exactly.
Really?
Because we need it for different reasons.
Exactly. So she might think maybe I'm saying it in the wrong way. I'm like,
Yeah, Erika, I miss you. Funge.
I miss you, Erika.
I should open them.
Exactly.
Yeah, advocate. Yeah, let's get into today's topic. We'll touch on it.
Oh, yeah. So you know what? Let me start with a brief recap.
Mm-hmm.
We got into it last week, and it's interesting. So generally, you have engineering and engineers. You've got architects. You've got constructors. So this comes from your basic level of construction and engineering and designing and whatnot, right?
Mm.
Through to the really complex structures, you know, like if you go to Dubai. I think Dubai has the highest building in the world, isn't it?
Burj Khalifa.
Yes, exactly. Now imagine how much engineering needs to get into that. And then I think they're like, I don't know if they've got it or they're tampering with the idea of having a building, Shewa, I don't know if you've seen that, a building that kind of like throughout, like a twist, and it keeps on going this way.
Yeah.
Yo, guys, you know,
By far.
you know, that means like a huge amount of skill.
Yeah, true.
And, you know, and just precision and what can I say? Like just expertise, you know, because imagine how many lives can be lost if you just have one thing wrong, you know.
True.
And, you know, you've got companies that do well in construction, but then they don't do so well in maintenance. So I think we're talking of three different stages of, you know, of expertise and skill that is looked for in engineers and in architects and in designers, etc., etc. And how it sort of put it there was like, number one, we have issues that come up with the design of just the design in the first place. You know, like, duh. And that is not to take away from creativity or the art, you know, that an engineer can have, because to get us to where we are today, obviously people were experimenting with new ideas, you know, just pushing new limits, you know, and seeing, okay, so we used to have horses, and then Henry Ford came and he had his first
car.
You know. And by the way, Miss Erica, for the record, did you know, just as a side thing, did you know that Henry Ford, when he went to the mayor of his state, right, and asked for support, like financial support, to actually start producing like his first car, right, and he had this brilliant idea, the mayor refused. This is according to history. And what did the mayor say? The mayor said, I have been young. Now I'm old. I have not seen anything stronger than a horse. So, you know what I mean? In terms of traveling, in terms of everything, even in war. And imagine, I mean, he would swallow his words, wouldn't he? Or, would be trying to get the foot out of his mouth right now if he saw just how much development happens. So you want to balance between, just the creativity and the safety, of following the tried and tested road. Usually that is what works. So when we're looking like here, maybe in terms of, say, Zimbabwe, we're looking at somebody who has designed your house, because a house is built on a blueprint, right? A plan. and maplan achona because vanhu vaingota maplan ikavototi plan yatobo anzi aiwa chimbenda naye kucity council imbona approviwa you know, they kind of like have to double check kuti ndizvo here izvi, you know, and that is already just checking to see the expertise that has been exercised at the point of design. Okay. We look at roads in Angandisia, you know, I mean, you know, maybe you guys can help me out on this one. My roads, I think I story last week. My roads carry. I think I tweet my foundation and I said Zimba, you know.
Yeah, because I was actually watching a video of how roads were constructed. There are about 4 layers or 5 layers that are put before
and
the tar is put on top. Yeah.
But it's just, you know what's telling, you know, and yeah.
I have left the studio.
What's telling Miss Erica? Miss Erica is ready. I'm looking at her. You know? But what's telling now is, Kuti, when you're driving over, you're walking. You actually see it better when you're walking. But you go famba so ukaona pothole. You know, 4 stages zirutaura nashewe, you know what I mean? And sikudzona ndingoona ground ka ndotoona tara like panoperera tara kapatotanga ground.
Advocate, you do know, you know, advocate, that mukoti kuterera nyaya, you are part of the story. Inini nyaya yenyu iyi, inini handisikuda kupindira nyaya yenyu.
I don't know this.
Iyi nyaya handiziye.
Okay, let's move on. However, okay, so when you're looking at design, you have to design a construction, and whether it's roads, whether it's a house, whether it's a parking, you know, parkade, right? Whatever it is, whatever huge building or small building you are building, you have to design it in a way you are considering a lot of things. So you're considering, let's just say, for example, environmental factors. If you are building a dwelling place or an office space, whatever, over wetlands, right, over a typically wetland area, that's not impossible. But it means, Kuti, from the design itself, you must be sure, and it must be clear, Kuti, you've taken into account the fact, Kuti, tiripama wetlands. Okay, so if you don't consider that, and you just put a foundation that is like for a normal house that is being built on a rock or that is being built on solid ground, then you'll see, Kuti, the constructor will construct as you designed, you know, and you can't blame the constructor because problem design, right? And then, of course, again, going back to roads, if you're looking like from Harare going, let's say, Komashingo, okay, that's a familiar road for me. There were areas, yanga ine ma bumps, you know, we called it the bumpy road, right? And sometimes it's fun to be on the bumpy road if you're not driving too fast. But if you're driving really fast, then you know that can be life or death. So even those who are constructing my roads over wetlands, because you know, if you're coming from one area through to the other area, you will find different environmental factors on the road. And so the kind of strength or foundation that you're placing on a road, maybe iri muchivu yasiyana ne maybe iri kumvuma, let's just say for argument's sake. And so, yeah, very, very important. Then the next thing that comes in, okay, is the flaws in construction. Okay. So when we're talking of flows in construction, takutarisa ma materials that are being used, right? Imba inenge yagadzirwa like fabricated bricks anditika. Neimba inenge yagadzirwa nemazenge, ndisho. Neimba inenge yagadzirwa neuswa. Even kumamisha, you can see kuti vari kunatsoziva kuti okay, kana tichivaka this house, in order for it to be solid, we need this type of material, you know. And I remember, and I will repeat, it was interesting. Kuti, I told a story of it's an old folk story of a Mukwasha. I mean, he was a builder. akanzi nateshara, okay, ndoda ndivakire imba anditi like the best that you can. I want it to be like the show of town anditi, because this man mari was not a problem. Achivampa mari yese akati unongondipa list yako chete, you know, my bills of quantities ndinodini ndinovaka, no problem, ndoda kuti uvake. So he gave him everything that he needed. And the guy, what was he doing? This Mkwasha, anga achitora mari yaya otaura kuti ini ndiri kuda matiles akaita so, you know, which were expensive and very formidable. Iobva aenda ondotenga poor quality, right, material, right, and then obva avaka, which looked kind of like the same, but obviously did not have the same durability or strength. And then I can say, okay, from ground level through to roof level, I should go not okay, this one looks like this, you know, pane my fake and Mario. So ultimately there's this brilliant shining, you know, house, and he presents it to his teshara, right? But most of the money he's pocketed, right? Using poor quality material. Then teshara says, well, Mkwasha, I was wondering, Kuti, what gift can I give you guys, you know, upon your wedding day and everything? And
don't tell me it was the house.
I am telling you.
Don't tell me it was the house.
Say, this is what I'm giving you and my daughter. But
you won't go to I don't go to studio each appearance.
And into it, so can't wash
first hour. Vanhu vasina kungwara-ngwara.
Aiwa vanonyanya kungwara stereki because kana zvazokubata manje. Because now imagine, unchachema nani, you know, you can't go and say, actually, because it was you who did that. Ungodoti anazo safira mba imomo, wazomtengesera at that house, you know. So the material that is very, very important. I'm sure you guys have seen like rainy season. They look amazing. As well to you know, ceiling ya kutanga udini kusega. Then you know something happened with the tiles up there. You know what I mean? So obviously the materials are extremely, extremely important. Right. And all right. When we're talking of the actual construction, you have flaws. I think we said flaws in design. We have flaws in construction. We spoke of materials, blah, blah, blah. And then you can have improper installation of something, right? So the design is fine, everything shiri right, but pakuzo installa apa, amenoti chichakazoitika. Sometimes you can have, you know, the inadequate quality control. I'm actually glad, like, you know, City Council actually says, do quality control yacho yoyo, you know, musati mavakaka chimbo toda kumbopfudza one office kwedu isisi tuone kuti, you know, what's the story. And you'll notice kuti at each stage panofanira kuva nemunhu ari kuyazocheka kuti is everything okay. And hapana chinombokwadza chekuti if you're not an expert or you don't have the expertise within a certain country, get it from somewhere else. You know, you've got countries that are building amazing things. And I know kuti, I noticed kuti in a lot of countries, you know, they have, I think they always call other countries which have actually done something like that. The same thing, you know. And that is so that there is quality control. And it kuti so pamashika is it okay? You know, is it all right? Right? And then you have those varku constructor who are deviating from the design. I mean, not anenga penyerwa ne yakarara, you know. No, actually I have a new idea, you know, design.
Creative.
Creative in the middle of, you know, come on, you know. So that's like an issue. So those are why we are talking about this is because I know in Zim a lot of people have had issues with designers, they've had issues with constructors, with engineers, and they just do not know what to do. It's like, you know, no, we're talking about professional negligence because somebody owes you a duty of care. Somebody owes you a duty of care. If you have hired someone and you're paying good money for it, then you must receive at least reasonable and unofana ku receive the best service that you're expecting from that expert, right? And the channel kuti these big companies which can mess up and of course we're the ones who just deal with these things. They block out the younger upcoming professionals, you know, because vananga kutongoti aiwa amushandike nemi. You get what I mean? Because they have caused the market to lose confidence in that specific, profession. And of course, I'm delaying to talk about lawyers for obvious reasons, but we've had a very bad name spoken about us because lawyer. I mean, just before I came here, I had a consultation with a gentleman who tells me I'm the fourth lawyer he's coming to, and he's coming to me because after me not a radio, you've got a name to defend. And so you can see this. Imagine how much money this guy has been paying. He says I was messed up by the first one, the second, or the third one. Got man, I'm confidence.
I can cross check.
At least I can double check what's going on. So yeah, moving on. We then look at my flaws in operation, and that includes flaws in maintenance. I will not comment on this, but I have seen kuti panaman are excited serek nekuvaka and the building paino commissioner ayo it's amazing. But ukazotarisa building iyoyo manje shewe 5 years later, 10 will be very generous. 5 years later, ona ma lifts achashandi, ona vanhu vakutokwira nama steps, ona pakangonaya. The first 2 rainy seasons, the paint is crying, and it's like looking like it's an ancient building. And whatever, and sometimes it's not kuti the construction was poor. The construction had been fine. The design is all right, but it's the maintenance, kuti. Shirokunzi, after so many, and I have to say this, of course, I'll not mention names, but we must
You're
know.
really fighting yourself today.
I can see that.
I know, I'm like,
wants
She's really
name
fighting
and
herself.
shame, but she's like,
no, I will do no such thing. I'll be sued. So, actually, what people should know is kuti, when they are getting into, say, a building, an office building in town, and one of the things that you must check, and we're talking professional negligence, one of the things you must check is kuti, let's say my elevators are akainstolewa achitaura kunzi after 15 years or after 20 years or after 25 years ari kutofanira kutochinjwa kutobviswa otoiswa manew one, that was part of the agreement, ndozvavakaudzwa nemunhu akaconstruct. But owner webuilding manje, vanhu vanofanira kucollecta rent, havanyanyofarira serek zvekumaintaina kuchinobudisa mari havazvide. And so you notice kuti pane malifts which have actually killed people, and I'm not trying to scare you people out there, but I think it's important kuti when you're getting into it, find out things like that. Kuti look, you people tanga kupinda pa building, we're taking over this floor, right? Contract agreement yenyu irimboti chinyi, malifts avachiri safe here, Of course, with like say hotels, I notice it's a bit different because if they are taking on a franchise, and like I said, they're taking on a franchise, an international franchise, the owners of the franchise, vanotouya, vantoya inspector evil, because it's their name. It's their name that is going out there. So if it's a specific franchise, they will come and they'll tell you, you are not using our name until you've replaced my lifts or until you have secured, the fire alarms and the firework, the waterworks. That should occur. So things like that you can still discriminate. But if you don't know that, you know what, you might be entering into a contract without you actually knowing.
They say before buying anything, you must find out why it's being sold.
it makes sense.
I like that.
So before you buy, zvakafanana nekuona munhu ari single, ufanira kunge uchikoti why
ari single?
Because kama elevator iwayo
I'm not understanding. Guess what's wrong with being single?
In this day and age. Why?
No, I think we're just adding to that. As you're saying, before you buy a building, check if the elevators are working or when they should be replaced.
Yes.
In seconding that, I'm saying that whenever you're buying something, make sure you know why it's being sold. Because pangamon arikutengesa building inyekuta asikuda kuchinja ma elevator. So finding out the reason why
Munari single.
Are single.
Makita vanika this meme yandakaona yanzi vamwe venyu mangoenda usimbe mazuano kuchine munhu akasviba here naye Erika iwe mazuano hango usimbe chete kuchine munhu akasviba. I'm like, aiwa guys, like
it's in dark skin.
It's in dark skin. I'm like,
I don't get it.
No, they're trying to say basically.
There's so many things that you can do these days. So I'll go now. She did dark skin.
Please, can you let us dark people breathe?
Imagine.
I want to come looking out. Why are you single, guys? I'm single because Princess at away. I got you to meet my frogs.
Plus, elevator doesn't stuck.
Okay, guys, back to the story. All right. Yeah, studio.
Advocate as you were.
Sorry, advocate.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, so some of the flaws in operations include failure in operation. Saka chinuka chiri kutoshanda mushe, but iwe ndiwo siri kuziva kuti chinoitwa sei. You know, pana mwana ngoti because ane class 4 license. How do you tractor and do you go you know, like it's not a like Gonyet combi, you know, whatever. She could now imwe should I the A2.
Is it A2?
Is it A2?
I'm worried about your driver's licenses in general.
The guy is in class 4. So can only class 4 class 2 and it can only class 4 A2. Oh yeah,
class 2.
Guys, minimum license.
Got send go.
No defensive.
Saka you can only class 4 guys. Usazama shunuje class 2. Right? Because my operations actually was here. And the issue and flaws in operation and where somebody has got inadequate training, you know. Machine. There've been a lot of accidents, and I say this for real. There've been a lot of accidents kumabasa where people have lost fingers, you know, because angachizama kupinza roko kuti andotore icho kana kuti aite so, and you know the machine is grinding. You're like, why are you doing that? So pane inadequate training inenge yaitika, you know, right, and you're following improper procedures, right, and there can also be an overload. Saka when you are seeing kuti inini maybe punish itika and itika because of some type of flaw, whether it's in design, whether it's in construction, or whether it's in maintenance or operation, you need to know kuti wandirikwendesa ukoti ndiani, you know, kwete ungoti nekuti pakanyorwa kunzi advovo wakutoti ndo vandikutoendesa ukoti unozona nyaya yako inobva yafa because vari kuti aiwa these are the people who constructed and did it. But it seems like the error yakatoetika, it was an error in the actual design, right? Or you're suing these people vakadesigner, but vakadesigner chitori right. Chakazonetsa ndivanhu vakazoconstruct, vanga vakushandisa, vanga vakuita deviate from the design. Kana kuti vanhu vakatadza kumaintain. Papa mota yange ichifanira kupota ichiswa oil, you know. Saka pazoita malfunction yekuti mota yapisa engine handitika what inyaya yekuti pa maintenance apa kuti every so often yanga ifanira service, every so often yanga ifanira, so that, and then sometimes it's in the failure in operation. And I'll give you one example which occurred in the United Kingdom sometime back, right, in the 70s, early 80s, somewhere there. It was a stadium, right? Stadium yanga yanzi inogona ku hold, let's just say for argument's sake, 1,000 people, right? And you know these stadiums, soccer, but because it was like a super match, it was a popular match, everybody wanted to be there, right? And maybe you go on a live, just such and that's and everything, people wanted to be there. And so, we can actually make an extra 2 million, 5 million if we allow a few extra people to come, you know, to yeah. So they allowed more people than what the stadium could handle.
Very like.
I'm sad.
When you will just do anything for that extra.
Guys, out there, guys.
Shika is a perfect example of that. Is because you want the extra $3.
Yeah, But that's arguable, isn't it? Anyway, Erika,
in some parts I've seen people on top of the
Because it's the same
no
thing as
on
wanting
top,
to
like
feel
literally
safe.
on top, yeah.
Like get
Literally.
out.
like
I kid you not.
baggage.
Yeah, like baggage. Literally, I kid you not. And I was just like, your safety, my guy. Like, why?
Yeah,
Do you okay to an
but,
advocate filling up the
yeah,
stadium
exactly.
because you want the extra money?
Imagine they cannot have a
And-
break or cannot cheat. All right.
I'm telling you, panoita my emergency brakes vanoita sei vanhu
I
aya
also
vakabatwa
don't.
nemagnet I don't know. But anyway,
The people
back
in
to
this
the
studio
story.
can really, munogona kuti siya nyaya yatafambira panapa.
I know. Okay, back
We
to
are
the
talking
story.
about
Property.
mhm.
Okay, negligence.
So what happened with that particular case? What happened is Kuti, the stadium collapsed because of overload. So the stadium did not collapse because of structural defects. It didn't. They were told Kuti, you probably can actually 1,000 maximum. Probably means it can carry about 1,200. But for the warranty and it for safety, it I saw in marks 2,000. You know. My structures could hold that weight and whatnot. Saka yakadaro, and you can imagine how many claims came out of that. You know, just how many claims. Saka, and you have to, like what I'm saying to you, asking yourself, so who am I suing? Am I suing the designer? Designer got a share.
No.
Am I suing the constructor and the engineer? No. I'm suing vanhu vachona who were running the thing and who were allowing kuti vanhu vari kupinda vari vangani, right? And that was the, and those are the people you are suing. And there were a lot of, a floodgate of lawsuits that came out. And you can imagine, obviously, that would probably go on the council, the municipality, which would be owning that kind of thing. And it was quite a disaster, right? So, we were talking again about about this one's going to take quite a bit of time, because we really need to get into it, because a lot of people have suffered loss, loss of life, loss of finances, loss of amenities because of so when we're looking at resilience of a building, resilience of a road, I know kuti people have asked me, Miss Erika kuti, kana ndikakwara mutown, let's say ndikufamba, and we're going to have a separate conversation on compensation on its own, right? Ndikafamba mutown, and pane pavement yakavhurika, because sometimes vanovhura vodiri yosara yaka, then pano anogadzira like those underground tunnels, then pavanovhara, it's no longer level to the tarmac. It's now much lower. No warning is given. Whistling, thinking everything is okay. And you're driving your car and you hit that thing. And whose fault is that? I think we sort of want to talk about that and say, so where do you go? And like I said, it's going to be a whole conversation. And the person is walking on a slab.
Does it not apply? Is that not the same case as potholes as well? Or like when a tree falls on your car?
Yes. But normal, I think maybe when you go to different places, you can then see, no, actually it's not normal, it's just normal. And the kandagato kwara, because there are people that I know who've been injured, people who've lost limbs, because of things like that, Yes, you can go and sue, you must be. And sometimes when people get my lawsuits against them, they kind of remember what their duties are to the citizens, that kind of thing. So yeah, we right? So I think just as we're closing, okay, so a building, a road must be resilient against local natural disasters. Okay, so vanhu vanotovaka dzimba dziri kune ma-twisters nama-hurricanes tornadoes and stuff. What I've noticed is kuti all those houses, they've got basements, and the basement is literally like another house. So they actually literally build another house underground. Then they actually shift the houses. You see
The
them.
bunkers.
Yeah, you just see them. Especially those wooden ones. If you don't drive you and you can see, oh, there's a house that's going. Then they just go and they set it on top of the foundation, right? But immediately, so whenever there's like a tornado or whatever, above ground, they can go underground. That might not help if you're in an earthquake, sort of place. So you need a different. So essentially, what we're just saying is the person who's designing and those who are constructing must be aware of the local, weather, environment, natural disasters. Of course, there are extreme unexpected conditions and unexpected lows, like what we said, Otherwise, these things, they expose the weaknesses, and then you will find yourself in court being sued.
We were talking there on professional negligence with advocate Nyari Maphosa. I think the biggest takeaway from this conversation is know who to sue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
We will be touching
and
base.
who to hire.
Yeah, and someone is asking if you can leave your details. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Guys, you can find me on social media, Advocate Nyari Maphosa, on all social media handles. My landline is 796060. People are seeming to have better access with that. And it's Harare code 796060. My cell phone number, my hotline, 0771 111 099. And we carry on with the conversation.
Thank you so much, Advocate. That seals it up for the second hour on the Morning Galaxy. Takes us straight to the news. It's 11 o'clock on Star FM, and it's time.